We wish you a Merry Christmas. You really don't want me to sing that, do you? I know you don't. If Sam was here, he would probably be putting me on mute, both video and audio. He can't stand it when I sing, especially when I'm singing 60 songs. That wasn't a 60 song. That was a Christmas song. Why am I singing a Christmas song? Well, I'm singing a Christmas song just because we're going to talk about Christmas today. It may seem a little bit weird. This particular podcast is airing at the end of August, and we're already talking about Christmas. No, we're not trying to sell Christmas stuff, but we're going to help you plan for your Christmas services. Why? Because Christmas Eve is on a Sunday. We want to really talk about that. In this brief episode of Church Answers podcast, they're all brief. They're designed to be just bite-sized nuggets that you can chew on and either swallow or spit out, whatever your preference may be. And we're going to be talking about this time, Christmas Eve is on Sunday. What should my church do in 2023? As always, you got to just love Belay. You think about what they do. They're supplying people. Now, that just sounds kind of blasé, but they are providing human resources such as an assistant, executive assistant, a virtual assistant to work with your organization, someone that'll become a part of your team. Remember, I've said on many occasions, I have used Belay before they were Belay, even when they had another company name, and I will continue to. We trust them. They have matched us well with individuals, and Belay does all the work, whether it's a bookkeeper or an assistant, a virtual assistant, or some other position. They do all the work. They take care of everything. You just have a qualified team member to serve alongside you. We've been giving away a download called 25 Tasks a Pastor Can Delegate to an Assistant. It's in the show notes, or you can go to belaysolutions.com/Thom Rainer. Okay, Christmas Eve is on a Sunday in 2023. What should we do? We're going to make recommendations. Obviously, we're not here to give declarations. Your church and your context and how the Holy Spirit leads you is what you should be listening to. Not Thom Rainer, not the Church Answers podcast, but just in the event that you wanted a little bit of guidance, we're going to do so. And we have a few points that we want to make about this. Okay, Christmas Eve, December 24th is on a Sunday. What should we do? Our first thing that we recommend to you is have both a morning and an evening service. Even if you don't have the evening service, you usually have a Christmas Eve service. Have both a morning and evening. The morning service can be very brief. You can have a family service, which means you have the kids coming in, and you can have a very brief service. But we would not recommend to churches that they close their doors on Sunday morning of Christmas Eve. They need to keep them open. And then they need to keep them open again for our second service that is specifically a Christmas Eve service. Well, Thom, can't we just kill two birds with one stone and just have our Christmas Eve service and candlelight on Sunday morning? You can. But I want to tell you that people are going to come to Sunday morning expecting Sunday morning, especially guests, and then they're going to be looking Sunday night for your Christmas Eve service. We recommend that you do two services. Second thing, I've already mentioned this, we recommend that your morning service be family style. That's not food. That means everybody comes in. That means the kids are crying. That means families are together. It's a wondrous noise. It's a joyful sound. It's a commotion, but it's good. And just let people know it's going to be a short service. Again, we're recommending brief on Sunday morning. And the families are going to be there. Again, you need to have that Sunday morning service, but make it family style. Sunday evening, Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. This is where you need to put most of your work into. This is where you need to do most of your planning. Once again, pretty casual for Sunday morning, but Sunday evening is going to be your bigger service. Our service says, in the case of many, I know in many churches today, their worship services, sanctuaries or centers cannot hold everybody for just one Christmas Eve, depending upon the size of the community, of course. But we do recommend that you put most of your planning into Christmas Eve. So do something very casual on Sunday morning. It takes very little planning. The noise and the kids are not going to be a problem. You let everybody know it's family style, but do your planning on Christmas Eve. Which brings up another point that we want to address. Why? Why are we doing more for Christmas Eve evening than we're doing for Christmas Eve morning? Here is one of the often forgotten realities in church life. Now, this is American church. I realize we have a global audience, and to those of you who have different contexts, I totally get it. You need to go with your context and how the Holy Spirit is leading you where you are. But in most American churches, you are going to see more unchurched people, people who are not followers of Christ. You are going to see more of those on Christmas Eve than any other time of the year. Let that soak in. You're going to see more unchurched, non-Christians coming on Christmas Eve than any other time of the year. I would lament it if a church did not have a Christmas Eve service. It is one of the greatest opportunities to touch the community, to understand what is going on, to reach them, and to prepare for them. And if you just get them to fill out a card or do something very simple, you're going to have a great opportunity to connect with them in the coming year. So I just urge you, if not even plead with you, have a Sunday evening service, a Christmas Eve service, and be prepared to reach people who do not normally come to church. You said, Tom, well, I thought Easter was the big day for attendance. It is, but you know who's primarily attending? All the church members at one time. Easter is like a family reunion. It's where everybody shows up at the same time. Even those who are CEOs, Christmas and Easter only, they tend to show up at that particular time. Christmas Eve is that traditional time where everyone in the community, that's an exaggeration, but most everyone in the community wants to connect somehow. They have memories, they have nostalgia, and that brings them into your church, and they will be there on Christmas Eve. So hear me well. Christmas Eve is the number one time for most churches in America to see unchurched non-Christians come to their church. So put your effort, put your emphasis in this. So that is my prayer. That is my hope for you, and we will begin to help you in a lot of ways at Church Answers. So hang on, make certain you're there for Christmas Eve. Okay, last point. This particular time, the release of this podcast, if you're listening to it on the first day of the release, it's the end of August, August 31st. When is the time to start preparing for Christmas Eve? Well, you're probably going to have a holiday weekend, but as soon as you get back, start preparing for Christmas Eve. It is the most effective time. It is the most powerful time that you will have someone coming to your services. And let's just see the Holy Spirit work in great ways. So what is our admonition? Have both a morning and evening service on Christmas Eve this year in 2023. We recommend the morning service be family style, just very short and casual service. Evening is where you'll put most of your time in. It's where many churches will have their candlelight service and their traditional Christmas hymns and Christmas carols. It will be the nostalgic time. Why? Because the unchurched are going to be attending, and prepare now, begin now, because this is going to be your great opportunity to reach a lot of people. That's what we're recommending about Christmas Eve. If you have other ideas, come and just leave us some notes, and shoot. If you're at Church Answers Central, respond there, wherever you want to. But we thank you for being a part of Church Answers Podcast, wherever you are. If you're watching me on YouTube, hello. If you are listening at your favorite app, give us a like, give us a review. Subscribe at YouTube and subscribe wherever you will have that opportunity to do so. Thank you again for belay. Don't forget the download I mentioned to you. You can look in the show notes and continue to join us at Church Answers Podcast, where we'll continue to make a difference in God's power to help the local church. We'll see you later. Hey, folks, this is a PS to our podcast. We got some exciting stuff that we want to offer you absolutely for free. Sam, when you think about predictive factors in a church's growth, if you take out demographics, what are some things that come to mind? Just two. I mean, don't give me a list of 10. Just 2 or 3 things that come to mind on predictive growth of a church.
Well, evangelism and whether the church is doing it or not.
Bingo.
And then I will add, is it an ongoing evangelism emphasis?
Double bingo. Well? Maybe something about leadership and their commitment to that. So all of the above.
Evangelistic churches have evangelistic pastors. Is the staff, is the lead pastor doing the work themselves.
We have a free download for you, and it's actually a sheet that you can self-score. You answer 20 questions, anywhere from strongly disagree to strongly agree, and we come back and we predict what your growth rate is going to be for the next year in worship attendance. It's not a perfect tool, but it's a good tool. There's a link to that for the attendance predictor. Look in the show notes. You'll absolutely love it. That's cool. We'll see you soon.